Are you ready to think big and act bold? Then you are in the right place. This is Innovative Entrepreneurs, a podcast that will bring you the stories, insights, and tips from some of the most successful and innovative entrepreneurs in the world. I am your host, Erica Bailey, and I am here to help you start, scale, and sustain your own entrepreneurial journey. Let's get started.
Today, we have a fascinating guest. Meet Mark Lumpkin, the ultimate girl dad, an avid traveler and chief advocate for short-term rentals, STRs. Mark's journey began over a decade ago when he grew tired of traditional hotel and hostel models. As a passionate cook who craved his own space while traveling, STRs became his go-to solution. He's got a background in business-to-business sales across diverse industries. So think cannabis, real estate, and auto. He took the plunge into the world of STRs. He helped set up, over 500 top-performing STRs. And what I mean by that is short-term rentals. At STR Cribs, which is an awesome name, they handle everything from renovations to design, transforming properties from their current state to guest-ready havens. Hey, Mark, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on, Erica. I'm excited to talk to you. That was probably my best entrance ever, so I appreciate you hyping me up.
Hey, you deserve it. You deserve it.
People are going to think I'm way cooler than I actually am, but no, that was awesome. Thank you.
I think we're going to make you look cool by the end. I mean, you're with me, so you're already cool. Okay, so the name STR Cribs, I love that. So tell me more about this business.
Yeah, for sure. So the name is actually obviously a play on words from MTV Cribs, the old TV show. And we really think about it like kind of like just like pimping out your house and making it a really, really cool pad to hang out in and that people want to travel to. And so the company was actually birthed a couple years ago. Our founder, Josh Lewis, was in construction for a long time and had been approached by an investment group that wanted to set up a couple short-term rentals in Florida. We had done a lot of work for them, not really knowing what the use of the homes was going to be. And then we finally asked and said, hey, you're doing things a little unusual and setting these homes up a little differently than normal people would if they're going to live in the house. What's going on with them? And they said, we're making them short-term rentals. And we quickly realized that there was it was a niche and there was very much a need for a company that specifically did renovations and designs for short-term rentals.
Okay.
And so that's kind of how it started. And yeah, we've done a lot of houses since we started 4 years ago. It's been fun.
Fantastic. So what exactly, is a short-term rental like an Airbnb or VBRO, or is it something different?
Yeah, very much so. So I would say that it's kind of like what Ziploc is to the bag industry, where everyone calls it an Airbnb, mostly because they have the biggest name in the in the industry. But at the end of the day, it really is a short-term rental, and Airbnb and VRBO are just two sources that people use to get bookings. But there's a lot of other outlets that you can find properties or list your property on. And so that's why I always call them short-term rentals, because some people only book direct, where you have to go to their website to book their property, or some people are on Booking.com or Travelocity, or you find them on Google. So Airbnb, VRBO, they're the most popular names in the industry. That's why a lot of people call short-term rentals Airbnbs. But
okay. Well, that makes sense. The name short-term rentals, I feel more comfortable. I mean, it just makes me feel, I'm going to get a better house. I'm going to have a better experience. And I'm looking at your website and some of these places, man, I mean, they are like MTV Cribs. It's amazing. So you did sales before this? What did you do before this?
Yeah. So I've kind of always been in a business development and sales role. I mostly worked for startups for most of my life, adult life. And that's always interesting and fun. It's a lot of ever-changing systems, processes, goals. But prior to short-term rentals, I was in a real estate startup. I've done a cannabis startup, which was really fun. I've actually sold probably more cannabis than most people in the world, and I would be in jail for my entire life if I had done this illegally. It's a funny story. Like, I've sold over 10,000 pounds of weed, and I don't think very many people can say that.
I've sold over 10,000 pounds of weed. Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. Wow.
So, yeah, that was super fun. And just like anything, kind of just fall into what you end up in. I had a friend who was in the short-term rental Airbnb world, asked me to come help out with his startup, and then it led to what I'm doing now.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's how I kind of got here.
So, like, what made you take this leap? I guess what was your why for getting into this industry or for taking this leap?
The why, I think for me, a lot of it is time freedom. And so I do really appreciate, being able to spend time with my family, and traveling is really important. And then I kind of love real estate. I love houses. And so for me, it was, I don't know. I always thought that people were kind of full of it when they're like, oh, if you find something you love to do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of found this niche, and I was like, I actually really enjoy this. I love traveling. I love creating cool experiences. So it does not feel like work. And so I think those are, maybe that's a long-winded answer, but that's really my why, because I love the industry, the space, and I like the time freedom that I get with it.
That is fantastic. Why? The time freedom, you're building your life. So my mentorship coach, Mike Aguilera, is with the Food Dog Group. He says you build your life by design, right? So having this time freedom, you're able to build your life by design because you don't have to, fear or worry that, you can be gone for a week and that everything is going to fall apart, right? So you're able to have that confidence and security that you are able to travel and enjoy and spend that quality time with your family. So I love it. That's why I went into this. Actually, it was back in 2007, 2008 when the market crashed and it hit Arizona really, really hard. And I had a master's degree in business and my husband had a bachelor's degree, but we couldn't even find a job. We could find a job at McDonald's, but we were overqualified.
Yep.
It was really, really hard. And so, we understand business, we understand marketing, we understand communication because my degree is in organizational behavior. So I took that and I turned it around into understanding the behavior of users on the web. And so we started a marketing company. And our why was, we need to do something immediately, initially. But when we realized that we could do something with this, our why turned into that time freedom that I can go to my kids' football games and I don't have to worry about getting permission or worry about, having, paid time off. I can go to the doctors with my kids in an instant should I need to. And so I can take them, in the middle of the day and go to the park. Those things are really important to me. And so having that time freedom it's a fantastic reason to be a business owner or an entrepreneur. Yeah.
I love that. I certainly don't want to be the richest person in the cemetery. That's for sure. And
I love that. I've never heard that before. I'm going to use it.
You can't take it with you, so you might as well enjoy your life. And I'm glad you feel the same way.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so now you have visited or traveled to over 30 countries and 40 states. Is that right?
Yeah, we're at we're currently in a couple states in the last few months that we haven't been to. So I think we're up to 42 or 43 states. So our goal is to have all of those checked off. Me and my wife have been avid travelers really ever since we met about 8 years ago. And so we've had a lot of fun doing that. Obviously, with a couple little kids, things get a little harder traveling internationally.
Mm-hmm.
But, that was kind of the origin story, too, to this whole thing that we're doing now, which is we love to travel so much. We saw things that we liked and things that we didn't like as travelers. We were able to implement that into a business plan and help people kind of create amazing short-term rental spaces that take good care of guests that are traveling.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a few properties of our own and we're super hosts and that's all just kind of stemmed from our love of traveling.
Your love of traveling created a huge business opportunity where you do all the things that you love. And I think that's fantastic. Yeah. What a great thing. But So how is this global exposure? How has that influenced your approach to short-term rentals?
Yeah, that's a good question. The market that we work in the US is very different than the short-term rental market all around the world.
Okay.
And so I don't know if it's necessarily like directly affected how we do what we do in the US because it's so different. What the market looks like in Europe or Asia and the United States is very different. But I would say fundamentally, it's made us realize that it's called unreasonable hospitality. And so you want to put the guest and the traveler above everything else. And if you can create a really great space and a great memory for them, then you've created some loyalty and you'll get a great review, you'll get referrals. It's really all just about putting that guest at the forefront of everything you're doing. And so I think we learned that as we were traveling. We stayed in places and we left. We go, gosh, that experience wasn't great. The towels and linens were really poor quality. The bed was uncomfortable. The bathroom was a little bit dirty. Those kind of things left a bad taste in our mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the opposite end of it, we would leave a place and say, wow, that place was beautiful. Their attention to detail was really great. It was very clean when we came in, even down to maybe they cleaned the place, but they used a really strong cleaning chemical. So when you walked in, it just stunk like bleach really bad. That's just not a great experience, right? And so I think we kind of learned a lot of the little things to do and to not do. And then we've tried to implement that into what we're doing here in the US and seems to be working out really well.
Sounds like it, obviously. I mean, over 500 properties? Is that what I read here?
Yeah, we've done a little over 500. And we have 45 active projects as a company right now. And so we're crazy busy.
That's good, right?
Yeah. We've even got a Star Wars themed house that we're doing right now with murals painted all over the house. Beautiful custom bunk beds that are being built to look like a spaceship. It's just like really, really cool stuff. And then, we did some just normal stuff as well, but we definitely have leaned more towards the resort style properties that are really all out.
Wow. I'm looking at your website. I'm just absolutely loving this. So I'm looking, at this little slider right here. Are these examples of the house?
Those are all live properties we've done. We've done bachelorette themed pink style homes. We've done NFL baseball themed style homes in Scottsdale, which you're from Arizona originally.
Yeah.
We've done family themed homes with in that last slide at the bottom right, there's built-in bunk beds with slides in them. We really believe that the home itself is part of the experience.
Oh, yeah.
And so, when someone goes to Scottsdale, we want them to be like, oh, we're going to Scottsdale to catch the baseball game and see family and stay at this house because this house is so awesome. And so that's really been our focus.
Wow. I mean, this is pretty amazing. By the way, your website's beautiful.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, we even have a custom wallpaper printer. We do those murals that you saw in that one on the far left. We'll put in basketball courts, swimming pools. We kind of go all out.
Wow. But I see what you mean by this is an experience, right? This is more than just having a rental. If you're taking your family on a vacation, you want that experience, especially if you're going somewhere, maybe not necessarily kid friendly, like Scottsdale is not necessarily kid friendly. So when you have this experience, your kids come into this room that's, where'd it go? That has slides in the bedroom. Can you imagine? I can just imagine the joy on their face when they walk into that room, right? And that makes all the difference. If the kids are having fun, the parents are having fun, right?
Definitely. Yeah. And then you're thinking about too, how can we create spaces for the different people in the group, right? There's got to be spaces for the kids to have fun and do fun things, but you also want spaces for mom and dad to be able to enjoy themselves as well. And so we're really thinking strategically through that whole group, who's traveling, why they're traveling, and how we can make everybody have a great experience.
Wow. This is so cool. I'm so glad that you were able to come on my show. Okay, so we're going to get into money a little bit. What would it cost me to have a top performing short-term rental? Or is it just all over the board?
It's all over the board. I would say in general, it's usually a six-figure investment. It's usually somewhere between, let's say, 100 and 150 grand to really create a unique space like that. But when you look at the revenue projections, a lot of these homes pay for themselves in a year or two. And so if the market is doing, let's say you have a 4-bedroom, 2-3 bath, and your market says you could make 75 grand a year as a short-term rental or an Airbnb, the houses that we put together are typically doing close to double that local market and those projections. And so if you invest heavily on the front end, you end up with a very unique property that is an outlier, stands out from all the competition, has way more bookings, charges a higher nightly rate, gets longer bookings, people staying for longer periods of time. And we've seen a lot of our customers kind of double the revenue they were expecting in that market just based on the property.
Wow. So I could honestly make enough money. I pay off the services, but I could probably actually put towards paying off the house. And then it's all profit, right? From there.
Yeah, or for sure. Or you can do whatever you want with your cash flow, or you can take that and invest it in another property. Or like you said, you can buy some of your time back and go see your kid's football game because you've got a cash flowing asset. So there's all kinds of things you can do with that money.
Yeah, that is so cool. That is so cool. I mean, it does. It sounds like a lot upfront, but when you're thinking about the actual analytics and the opportunities, you have proven, techniques or proven results that can show individuals that this is a very valuable investment. I think that's awesome. Okay, so we were talking about Airbnb and VBRO earlier. So, I mean, it's a competitive world, I'm assuming. So how do you advise these hosts to stand out and attract guests other than, making it freaking awesome?
I mean, obviously, making the house awesome and doing a design that's different than everyone else is going to give you a competitive advantage from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just a lot of little things you can do. I mean, something as simple as making your home dog friendly is a really big benefit. A lot of people travel with their dogs. I think like the number of road trip travelers, it's like 40% across the US are traveling with dogs. And so that would really help you out. Kid friendly. When you're looking at the numbers, most people are traveling with their kids. And if you have a pack and play and you have a high chair and you have some toys, just some things that make the home a little bit more kid friendly can really help.
I'm thinking, wow, if that was there and I didn't have to bring it with me, oh my gosh, can you imagine how much trunk space that saves?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
it's amazing.
yeah, and it's such a small thing, right? What does a pack and play cost? You can go to Walmart and get a pack and play for $100,
Yep.
and how many times could your guests use that over and over and over again as a property owner?
Yes.
So there's a lot of little things that you can do. You just have to start thinking about, hey, why are they coming? Who are they coming? How long are they staying? And what are they going to need?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, my favorite recommendation is go stay in your property. Like you should be the first guest at your property. You should sleep there for 2 weeks. And when you go to use the barbecue and you realize there's no propane in the barbecue, it's like, oh, I need that for my guests. I don't have any salt and pepper. There's not enough extra towels. I got some linens dirty. I don't have a second set. You're going to learn all these things that your home is missing. And that's really the best way to make sure that your home's going to do well. Just stay in it.
What great advice. Oh, fantastic. I wouldn't even think about that. But yeah, you have to understand, you have to walk through the user experience, right? And so if you understand the user experience from the very beginning, then you can actually provide better quality services and, enjoyment, right, to the families who come and stay in these properties. So that's pretty impressive. Okay. So what roles does thoughtful design play in enhancing this guest satisfaction? And how do you approach it with STR Cribs? And I'm going to actually say in the marketing and advertising world, not necessarily the homes themselves, but why do you feel like that thoughtful design and really makes you stand out amongst the crowd?
Yeah, I mean, a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? And in marketing advertising, it's probably worth 1,000,000 words. And so we call it stop the scroll, right? We live in a society and we have a generation of people that are so used to scrolling through Facebook or Instagram or whatever app is on our phone. Well, think about Airbnb and VRBO as really the same exact experience. Like Airbnb is similar to Instagram in that all you're seeing is a large picture and you're scrolling through until something captivates you, catches your eye, and gets you to click on it.
Yes.
So that's why the design is so important. It's honestly more important than anything else. It's more important than the reviews you have. It's more important than the location of the property. It's more important than your nightly pricing. It's can you grab someone's attention with that first picture, get them to scroll through a couple pictures, and then once you've got them at 3 or 4, they're hooked. And that's why it's so important.
Yeah, I'm thinking back to times when we've used short-term rentals, And I mean, even hotels, and we go through all the pictures, like you were saying. And I love the stop the scroll. I mean, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Okay. So you have a very diverse sales background. So I guess, how do you negotiate like these win-win deals between, or property owners or investors? Like, what is your strategy? And you don't have to sell all the secrets, obviously, but how do you go about like talking, negotiating deals with these individuals?
It's a good question. And it's a question I have not been asked before. So I want to give you a thoughtful answer here.
Take your time.
One thing, yeah, one thing that comes to mind and is very helpful is our book of business and our portfolio, which is hard to duplicate, right? Like you've got to, it's just like any business. If you go to a restaurant and you look and they have 5,000 5-star Google reviews, you can pretty much guarantee that they're going to have good food because of their previous experiences and the quality of the work that they've already put out there to the world. And so that definitely takes time. Like we didn't have that at the beginning. It took us time to build that. I would say our attention to detail and the speed in which we communicate with our clients is really important. And I think that speed is one of those things that kills a lot of businesses and a lot of sales cycles. If someone emails me at 10:30 at night and I'm sitting there watching Netflix with my wife, I'm going to respond to that. And it might be a controversial statement, right? And people are like, oh, you can't do that. That's your personal time. And I'm like, yeah, it's my personal time. And I don't have to respond to it. I don't always do it. But if I do, that's so powerful to that client where they shoot me an email. Most other companies might not respond for 2 or 3 days, or they might never respond. And I hit them back with a response within 30 seconds or a minute. They're like, people want to work with us because of how responsive we are. And so I'd say that to me, that's one of the biggest takeaways is your speed to handling your clients' questions and objections is really going to help you in the long run.
So we're talking though about, having your own life by design and having your own freedom of time. I think that personally, I'll respond to emails at 10:30 at night if it's important, because
Definitely.
it's not necessarily my personal time. My personal time is when I damn well choose it to be. So, it may be in the middle of the day. It may be in the morning. If I can provide that quality service, like you said, now I'm standing out amongst the crowd and I'm showing kindness, responsiveness, and actual care for others' needs. And I believe strongly if you live life starting with kindness and caring about the needs of others, that goodness will all come back around. And so that's why I'm totally down with emailing somebody at 10:30 at night if they respond, if they reach out to me. Because you're right. How hard is it to get a hold of anybody with these other businesses? And it's like, even if there's a chat option, right? You don't have, the all day chats. And I think you're right by doing that. Personally, I think that that's a smart business choice and it shows that you do care, which again makes you stand out among the crowd, which is probably, I assume, why people like you so much.
Yeah, definitely. I think it just makes us, like you said, stand out from the crowd. We're just a little bit different. And I think too, when you're dealing with investors or high net worth people they're trying to set themselves up and have a good return, they realize that you have to spend money to make money. And so if you can it's more about value than it is about price. And so it doesn't matter if a house costs 100 grand or 500 grand. If it costs 100 grand and you think that it's worth 200 grand, well, then you're going to buy it every day, right? All day long, because there's value built in there.
Yes.
And so we're really more focused on the value of the product and your long-term success than the upfront price. And that weeds out some people, right? That means that we definitely have very price conscious people that are shopping us and looking around, and they kind of just phase it away. And that's okay. That gives us more time and energy to focus on the people that see the value in our product and that we can then turn around and give them the best experience possible.
It's the right audience. You got to talk
Exactly
to the right audience, and it's your audience is a little different than I need to stay in Salt Lake for a couple of days, or a week or whatever. It's definitely a different experience. So
definitely
interesting. Okay, so looking forward, what trends do you see or do you foresee in the short-term rental industry, and how do you feel entrepreneurs can adapt to stay ahead?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say that the biggest trend I'm seeing is more of a standardization and more institutions coming into the space. And so right now, 99% of Airbnbs are owned by single individual operators.
Okay.
So just normal people like you and me. I've got one or two, you've got one, your friend's got one. And that's the industry today, a
Okay.
mass majority of it. Okay. Hotels, though, hotels are all owned by the same five groups of people, right? That Marriott, Hilton, they own every single hotel. It might say the DoubleTree, but it's owned by Hilton, right? So there's really only a small group of operators that own every hotel. Same thing with resorts. So you got the Four Seasons, and really the travel industry is very standardized. There's only so many airlines, there's only so many hotel chains. But for some reason, because of the nature of the short-term rental industry, Airbnb being so new and being very different model, it's very diversified among individuals like me and you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is going to go away. It's not going to be completely gone, but the pendulum is going to swing, and you're going to see these larger. You're going to see the Hilton opening up 5,000 short-term rentals in the course of 10 years, and you're going to see these bigger companies starting to come in and take up market share.
Okay.
And so that's the big change that I see coming. I don't know if it's 5 years away. I don't know if it's 10 years away, but it's definitely coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say how entrepreneurs can capitalize on that is to, one, provide services that can help take advantage of that institution money coming in, because I guarantee you the Hilton is sending one of their employees to the house to clean the pool, and they're going to use third-party services to streamline the management, the setup, things of that nature of the home. And two, very much thinking outside of the box with the experience. And so, like, I have a friend, he's building tree houses in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. That's such a unique niche thing that he's got these really cool tree houses in the middle of the woods. That's not going to become standardized. He's not going to have much competition. It's really just going to be his tree houses. And so kind of thinking outside the box with those type of properties is going to give you an advantage for a long time.
I would totally stay in a tree house. Totally.
I stayed in one. They're so cool.
Are they amazing? Oh my goodness. You're going to have to send me information. I would love to check that out. My kids would adore that, man. That would be so much fun. Yeah, you'll have to send me that info.
I definitely will. We also talked to some people today. They're doing glass houses. And so you have a glass house on the lake, and it's completely reflective all the way around. And it's just such a cool experience. So those unique experiences, I think, will become more and more popular and people can do well with. And then I do think that you're going to get a lot of investment into the industry and a lot of kind of standardization.
I once spent a few nights in a covered wagon at a
cool.
ranch up in outside of Jackson. And I mean, cool. It was a different experience, obviously. My kids loved it, but just that uniqueness, right? Like, that's why I went there, is because they had the opportunity to sleep in a covered wagon. So no, it's not necessarily short-term rental, but just like you're talking, the outside of the box, right? So that's what I think. And they're always there's always busy. Well, weather permitting here.
Yeah.
One of the things I absolutely love about what you're doing is you have some creative spunk in your wording on your website and your content. So I'd love to know where that comes from.
Yeah, I think that it really just kind of comes top down from our ownership into the company culture. And obviously very professional and forward thinking, and let's just get stuff done. But it's also pretty casual, and we can just be real people. And that's what I love about the startup world, right? There's no red tape. If I want to make a decision and I want to do something and I say, hey, I think we should advertise in this space, or hey, I think we should do this, I can just send a Slack message and put together a quick meeting and get everyone together for 15 minutes. Hey guys, what do you think? We kind of shoot the shit, for the lack of a better term, and make a decision and then start executing on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say that kind of mindset is just kind of runs through the veins of our company, and everybody feels the same way. And we don't bring people into the company who don't fit that mold, and who, I guess, we never hire someone that we wouldn't enjoy hanging out on a weekend with. You know what I mean?
Yes, I love that. Yes.
So we don't care how qualified are you. If you're not a real person and you're not a genuine person that we enjoy hanging out with, you're just not a good fit for the company.
Love that. Yeah, because you have to have that company culture, right? You have to make sure that you have the right people and the right seats in the bus and the right driver. And there's nothing wrong with not bringing people on the team if they don't mesh, even if they're more highly qualified than, the other person that you interviewed who is energetic and who really believes in what you're doing and, is enjoyable. It makes a huge difference in the workplace. It really does.
Definitely. I think it's the most important thing. I think a lot of companies kind of forget that.
Mm-hmm.
And it then translates to our clients too.
Yes.
I always say, like, at the end of the day, if you're on a sales call for an hour with a client, you guys should be friends. That's more important than knowing the X's and the O's and the da-da-da. How many kids do they have? Where do they live? Where are they from? What do they like to do? Like, just being genuine and creating real connections, not just even from a company perspective, but from the clients that we're working with. It's more important. And I do think that that's a lost art, unfortunately, for a lot of businesses. They focus so much on the dollars and cents and don't pay any attention to the people, that there's nothing unique about them. There's nothing genuine, and there's no loyalty from their customers. They'll just go buy your widget from the next guy because he's selling it for a penny less, because he doesn't have any loyalty to you. And so if you can create relationships that are long lasting, that's really where you benefit in business.
I am a huge proponent of authenticity. I believe that, especially in today's market, that we need to show authenticity. We need to have transparency. It builds trust. It builds these relations that you're talking about. It allows you to get those referrals because you're real. Like you're not hiding behind a screen of VBRO and Airbnb, and you can only contact me via, this form. It's something different. It sounds like you're offering something unique and different, which is you give a shit about your employees.
Definitely. And then it comes through, and they know that we care about our people, and that we care about our customers, and people want to work with us. We don't have to drag them through the mud, and we don't have to beg them and get on our hands and knees. They come to us with the expectation. They know who we are. They want to operate with us, and it makes it much easier.
I think about 90% of our business over the past 15 years has been referral. Specifically because of that. I truly believe because we provide value with sincerity and with kindness and care, that's why we get these referrals, because people know that they can depend on us, which means that they can share us with their friends or, other businesses maybe that they're connected with without fear of having to show face. Is that the right saying? Without fear of saying, oh my goodness, the person you referred me to just absolutely dropped the ball. Like, why would you reach out, or why would you, suggest them? You never want that when you make a referral, right? So, you have to be trustworthy in order to gain that, brand ambassadors is what I call them. You want brand ambassadors because when they're promoting you, free marketing, right? Right there. And it's the best. It's the
Hands
best.
down the best. Yeah, that's the worst feeling ever, is to recommend someone and then they don't do a good job, and you just feel just absolutely terrible. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. So yeah, I love that. I couldn't agree more.
So I just added this one, but if you could build anything, like what would be your dream to achieve?
My dream to achieve, like just in general in life.
Oh, like if you could build any property, any house,
Any property.
team, right? Like if it was completely up to you, what would you do?
I think I would do an everything house. Like if I could do anything where it just has everything you could possibly imagine: an indoor bowling alley, rope swings, a swimming pool with a lazy river, hot tub, sauna, cold plunge, gym, pickleball court, basketball court, arcade games. Just absolutely, like, if I could take all of our properties, our 500 properties, and I could put them all into one and everything be in one location, I think that would be super cool.
That would probably be, you'd have to book out like 2 years in advance, man. That would be amazing.
Yeah. You'd have to spend some money on it too, though.
I know.
It wouldn't come cheap.
I can only imagine, though, like how big those properties have to be in order to implement all that. But you can do like a pool with a lazy river. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about marketing, right? Because that's what I do. So what do you feel has been the best strategies for you in the marketing industry. So like paid ads, organic social media, like what are you doing to promote this other than being awesome and getting referrals?
We have maybe spent less than a few $100s for the entire course of the business on paid advertisement. So we have not done any paid advertisement, which is very unique to say. We see market mind blowing. I know people are spending. Somebody approached me the other day to spend $7,000 a month to sponsor their Facebook group, and I said, just so you know, we haven't spent $7,000 in total in the last 4 years. So it's not going to happen a month. And the reason for that is we do just so much organic, and so we're on every single platform: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. All of our employees are active on those, commenting, engaging, posting. We do a very real strategy. So it's like, hey, here's pictures of this property and it's nasty and dirty and we're working on it right now. And this is so-and-so at the property and here's the dumpster. So we're always kind of giving updates. We send finished projects. We do a lot of like insight into the industry. So these are the things we're seeing. These are the things that we love. And so that kind of organic social media has driven quite a bit of traffic. We've also really focused on strategic partnerships. So directly reaching out to companies or groups that maybe represent the clients that we want to get a hold of. And so like, if there's a property management group, well, we know they're managing properties for investors and those investors are always looking to add new properties. And so if we can go to them with a partnership agreement that incentivizes them monetarily and also just operationally, like, hey, we can help your people that need help. It seemed to have been really well received. And so that's like the B to B to C business model, which is we take our business, we go to other businesses to get to their clients. And those two things have worked out tremendously for us. And, we might explore some paid advertising in the future. I think it would come more in the form of like boosting our own stuff we're already doing, writing blogs or doing things like that.
Yes.
But that's what we've done. And podcasts. I don't want to leave out podcasts. Podcasts are awesome. I don't care if 5 people listen to it or 500 people listen to it. It's always great to get on podcasts and talk with people because that really kind of gets your brand out there.
And it also shows that you're authentic and you care, right? Yep. Like you really want to provide this experience. And so when you're able to have the opportunity to talk with somebody face to face and talk about your business model and talk about why you feel you're providing the best quality service out there. Podcasts are a very, very good way to do it. I happen to know somebody who has a podcast.
I've heard that it's a good podcast too, so they should check it out.
You should. Okay, so what advice would you give our listeners, especially those who are thinking about taking this leap into building their own business?
As far as like building their own business for a short-term rental perspective, or just in general?
In general. So I'm an aspiring business owner, and I want to start my own business. Like, what is one piece of advice that you would give somebody that you feel like you wish somebody would have told you? How's that?
Yeah, it's a good, solid question. I would say try to prove your concept before you jump all in, and that might be contradictory to a lot of like online gurus that just say, just go for it, just jump in both feet, burn the ships, either you fail or succeed. I've done that and I've failed lots of times. And so the times that I've succeeded have been when I have tested it, put out a theory, seen if the marketplace actually likes that product and is interested in it. And then if there's enough scale. And so see if you can prove your concept first, even if it's just one customer, one paying customer. I don't care if you make $10 off of them. You've at least seen that someone will pay you for your product or your service, and then start to scale it from there. Okay.
So my podcast is called Innovative Entrepreneurs. So is there an entrepreneur or business owner or even just a person who influenced you the most and why?
That's a good question. So I'm an avid reader. I do think that there's a lot of great business books out there. I would shout out my favorite, which is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I think that's really, it should be the Bible for any entrepreneur, salesperson, anyone. You should read that book once a year, if not more. And then I do like, on the topic of podcasts, there's the PBD Patrick Bet David podcast. It's a very interesting YouTube podcast series. They're always talking business, politics, a lot of cool stuff. And I like to consume a lot of their content as well. And so those are kind of like my two go-tos.
I love that. I love that. So how to win and influence people. I love the book on the digital age, right? So it's still the same principles, but we are in such a different age than we were when that book came out. So
Definitely.
I listened to the audiobook while I was going on walks, and I didn't want to turn it off. Like, I'm like, wow. I mean, this guy understood. And so, yeah, it's the digital age one is really good right now, in my opinion. And again, it talks about authenticity. It talks about communication, kindness, all of that jazz. So you're right. It's a very good one. All right. So where can our listeners find you? And is there anything you would like to add that you want them to know?
Yeah, I'll give you my email. You'll have it. Drop it in the show notes. They can email me anytime. And then I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. So if you want to come follow me on LinkedIn, I post at least 5 times a week and I respond every DM. So that's a great place to contact me is on LinkedIn or shoot me an email.
Fantastic. And their website is strcribs.com. And we'll make sure we have everything in the show notes. I am so grateful that you joined me. My mind is blown. I had no idea that this was available, to be honest with you. So this is exciting, and I cannot wait to check out your properties because I have no doubt that you offer a very unique and special service. So this is cool. This is cool. Thank you so much for joining me today. You have been an absolute pleasure. You have an amazing day, and we'll definitely chat again soon.
Cool. Thanks for having me on, Erica.
Wow, what a great episode. I hope you had as much fun as I did. If you want more of this goodness, make sure you subscribe so that you get notifications for future podcasts. And if you found value from this, please share it with others. You can visit our website at cwgdigital.com. This is Erica Bailey. I am your host, and I will see you next time.